Hello everybody. Today I have a box that was sent in for data recovery. See if I can get it opened. I believe it was water damage and it doesn't turn on no more. So let's see what we can do to get this open. Boom. Oh, this is a note or just a receipt? Yes. Oh, it's an excess, power cycles. Trying to save the photos. All right, that's where we're at. I believe it did go in the water, so we're expected to have some liquid damage on the inside. Because I know it's water damage, I'm not going to try to charge it or anything. We're just going to open it up and then see what it looks like on the inside. Alrighty. The first sight, I don't see where water got on the inside, so I'll go a little bit closer. What could have happened is a proximity sensor could be damaged, which is causing the phone not to turn on and power cycle. It does show up in recovery mode, so maybe they try to reset it or update it. Because I don't think recovery mode would go into recovery mode automatically. So I'll disconnect the battery, disconnect the proximity sensor, and then I'll leave the screen plugged in and we'll try to turn it on and see if it boots up. Yeah, the phone looks fairly clean on the inside. I will take it to the microscope, but I don't see anything too dramatic right now. All right, let's look at it real quick under the microscope just to see if we see any liquid anywhere. All right. Just looking around. Not that I see anything. I don't know. I think that's just from the factory. Usually you'll get a lot of corrosion built up around here. And this is the connector, so if it got on the proximity sensor, it could follow its way to the connector, but it looks fine. Even down here, we'll check the charging port area. As far as I can see, I think the phone was fairly sealed, so might be a good chance that there's nothing going to be wrong with the phone itself, just that proximity sensor. That's what I think. Let's look at the proximity sensor. It sits under here. And I mean, not that I see anything either. Let me get this off. And then we'll take a look at it again. Just trying to remove it carefully, not to rip anything. Don't want to cause any more damage. All right, let's take a look at the sensor itself. So, looking at it, it's a little hard to tell, but on the side here, we can see some corrosion right on that edge. So, what the voltage that runs through this sensor is the same voltage generated for the hard drive. So whenever those are short with this sensor, the hard drive is not getting the power it needs to boot up and turn on, because the short is consuming the extra power. So removing it would usually, once you disconnect it, the phone will turn on. The phone was in recovery mode, so we might have to kick it back out of recovery mode, which is, you know, possibly the only thing that's going to prevent it from turning on. It's just that recovery mode problem. But let's try that. Let me connect the screen and then see if we could get the recovery mode to go away. All right, so I got the phone. I'll connect the screen. And I'll just hit the power button. Yeah, so it still shows recovery mode. Let me plug in the computer and kick it out of recovery mode. What in the world? Exit recovery. All right, so I did the exit recovery in 3U tools. Let's just see if it turns on. Still booting, and it's up. It does have a picture in the background. I'm gonna run through a few tests. I guess no Face ID. Let's check the cameras. Back camera's working. Front camera's working. Check the sound. Sounds like the sound is working. You can hear the sound. Yeah, I think that's all that's wrong with it. Let's go ahead and fix that cable and then get it back on the phone and then see if the phone will actually turn on with the cable installed and if Face ID will still work, because that cable does support Face ID. So if there's an issue with it, Face ID won't work. So what I'm gonna do for the cable is I'm gonna try to unfold it and then I'm gonna tape it down as well as I can. I can get this unfolded with my hands. All right. I don't know why I did my thinner tape. All I had is this bigger tape. So I'm gonna have to use a big piece, cover the whole thing, and cut out where the sensor is at. didn't cut too nicely. All right, let's see. It might be hard to see it right now. Let's get this cut away. Let's see if I can brighten up the screen. Go. That there. All right. No, wrong one. Yeah, it'd be a little bit hard to tell. Let's get a little better picture in. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna get a little bit of flux on my tweezers, and then just get it right here on this edge. All right, put some heat. I'm gonna turn my heat down because I don't want it to be too hot. I just want to remove the connector. I don't want to burn it. I think at 260. For me, I set it at 260. But it might be different for you. So I'm just trying to heat it up. The connector, or the plastic part of the plastic part of the sensor usually does melt a little bit. But nothing we can do about that. There it goes. So I got it off. And it don't look too bad. Going to flip it over and then we'll take a look at it. I'm going to scoot this back here, then we'll take a look at it. So, flipping it over. Most of the corrosion is now gone because of the flux. So, I'm going to clean it. That looks good. Let's go back to the cable. Clean the cable. Most of the corrosion is on the cable. Let's see, you can see that. Cable looks clean now. Just gonna add a little bit of flux to it again, and then we're gonna put it back on. So I put the flux on my mat and then I just touch my tweezers on it. So I can put just a small amount. All right, let's bring this back over. Let's put it the correct way. I believe it went this way. Set it in place. And then heat it up again. Carefully. The cable gets hot quick, so that's why you use lower heat. That way you don't have to heat up. You're not heating up the actual sensor. I mean, it's getting hot, but you're not having to melt the plastic housing of the sensor. So you can tell it's on there now. Should be good. Let it cool off. Once it's cooled off, I'll usually go around and clean up the flux, but this is so little, I'm not even going to worry about it. Because if liquid gets in to the sensor itself, sometimes Face ID doesn't work. So it's better just to leave it like that. All right, let's get the tape off. And let me put this back on the screen and then plug it in and see if the phone will still boot with this plugged in. All right, let's get this, go this way. Back into the phone. So that's a very common problem when the phones get dropped in the water. Water always gets in through the ear speaker. That's at the top of the phone, and then it just seeps right next to that proximity sensor. It's almost a 3-volt connection, and it causes it just not to boot up. Boot looping is a common issue. Sometimes it just doesn't turn on at all. So it means the phone was probably getting some power to the hard drive, but it wasn't enough to sustain it to boot up. Got that in. Yeah, I think if I remember, the guy went swimming with it, recorded a little bit, and then later on the phone died. So that, in conclude, the phone is not waterproof or water resistant. All right, so let's see if it'll turn on, and then we'll check Face ID. Yeah, phone turns on. I don't know if they have a Face ID set up. There's no passcode, so I know they don't have it set up, but I'm going to check to see if Face ID will set up. It says reset Face ID, so I guess they have it. It's just they have it turned off. Set up an alternate appearance. Yeah, it's working. Face ID complete. So we'll cancel that because I'm not going to save my face in his phone. And I think that is it. We'll get the phone put back together and see if I can find another water seal for this, because it seemed to have worked actually fairly well for him, because it only came in through the ear speaker, which is this at the top. So the ear speaker at the top is where, right up here, this little mesh grill lets all the water through. Don't be fooled. Apple can't get it straight there either. That's been a problem ever since the very first iPhone. But that's it. Thanks for watching.